I don't know about y'all, but for us, 2024 was a knockdown, drag out year. And to be fair, it wasn't all entirely bad, and there close to the end, we had a blessing and surprise that kind of pulled everything together and made things make sense. But man, getting there was a real fight. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But last night, New Year's Eve, my wife decided to give me one more gift of 2024. And this cute little crocheted guy that you saw in the thumbnail. Let's see if I can get him to focus here, maybe not. It is an emotional support dumpster fire. And I don't know if it was her intention, but I don't think anything can sum up 2024 any better than an emotional support dumpster fire. Hey folks, Happy New Year and welcome back to Abundant Life Homestead. It's been a while since I sat here and gave y'all an update, so I figured today, New Year's Day, is a perfect time to catch everybody up on where we've been, where we are, and where we're going as a homestead, as a family, and as a channel. Now, last time I did this, a big story was my health, and you can find that here on my homepage. We scroll down, it's right here. That was my last big update, and in that I had been sick every day to the point that I had went into shock a few times. And at the time, my doctor had a theory that I had, in my age, developed a allergy to corn. Seemed to be legitimate. I had wiped all corn out of my system and was starting to do better, but then a couple days after this video, I had a baked potato for supper and went into shock, and the whole theory about corn went right out the window. So, a whole lot more testing, a lot more doctor's appointments, and it turns out now his current theory that seems to be correct is that I have what he calls an atypical non-diabetic reactive hypoglycemia. Basically, my blood sugar is always low, and every time I eat, no matter what I eat, my body overproduces insulin and wipes out my sugar. In order to figure this out, for 2 months we tested my blood sugar every waking hour. So just over 1,000 finger pricks, and in that time, the highest my sugar ever got was a 94. Lowest I saw it was a 38. There's no real cure for this and no real treatment other than figuring out a diet that works. So one thing I've done is I load up on protein every day. In the absence of sugar, your body will metabolize protein. Seems to work. I have several hundred grams of protein a day. I do still have some crashes, but they're nowhere near as bad as they were, and I'm trucking on. But because of all this, we didn't end up planting a garden this year. Caleb had talked about doing a garden, but he quickly found out that with me falling out, he needed to pick up the slack in taking care of the old folks and sometimes taking care of his brothers. Quite proud of the young man for that, because I rarely had to tell him what needed done. He just knew it, and he did it. So during all this time, we had trouble with our truck. Melinda's truck blew the engine. We were kind of at an impasse. Where do we spend money on this truck, or do we buy another truck? Good old truck, we decided to put the money into it. We had to buy a new engine. While we were at it, we put in wheel hubs. We needed new catalytic converters, some work done on the heater switch. About $14,000 took everything we had to get this truck running. We were okay with that, though, because you put that kind of work into that truck, should last us another 20 years, right? This was 2024. Meanwhile, back at the garden, it's probably a good thing we didn't plant this year, because we went through a season of drought. From April to September, we barely got 1/10 of an inch of rain. So anything we planted would have really struggled. And this isn't the first year that we've been through a drought. Now our trees are starting to suffer. Right now it's namely apple trees, mulberry trees, and lilac bushes, but the most devastating has been the apple trees. We lost 6 trees this year. I mean, they completely gave up. You could walk up and limbs this big around, just snap them right off the tree, totally dry. And the ones that did survive, they didn't survive very well. I can show you here. This is one of our trees in August, one of our apple trees, and pretty much all the surviving trees look this way. They leafed out up in the top, very sparse leaves down near the bottom, no apples whatsoever. And that was terrible for our apple cider. 2023, we hand pressed 96 gallons of apple cider. 2024, we didn't get enough apples to do a single gallon. So it really hurt the apple cider production this year. Moving on into the summer, I did get to go to the Portland Tractor Engine Show this year. Had a great time, lots of good footage there. And you can see here on my YouTube page several videos from where we were getting ready through every day of the show. A couple specials on the steam engine. I did start to feel a little guilty the last couple days of the show because Aunt Frances ended up in the hospital. If you've watched very many of our videos, you know that we pretty much dedicated our adult lives to taking care of the family old folks. And one of our rules that we have is if someone is in the hospital or a rehab center or anywhere else, they're not there alone. Someone is with them every waking hour of the day. Melinda took up the job as Aunt Frances's caretaker for that. She let me finish out the show. A couple days later, Aunt Frances came home. We had some relief for a little while. But during that time, I was out working in the back pasture and I broke my backhoe. I can show you here. You can see the stabilizer here. It snapped, bent the frame of the stabilizer and the hoe pretty good, busted up the pins, messed up one of the hydraulic cylinders. I still haven't put any time into fixing that because although we thought we were in the clear, a couple days later Aunt Frances ended up back in the hospital. While we were dealing with that, some family decided to come over and help us out by mowing our property. It was needed and appreciated, but they got their mowers caught in the transmission lines of my radio antennas, and the 500-foot antenna got chopped up in several places. Can't really say much about it. They were doing a good thing for us. I managed to fix my transmission antenna. The 500-foot receiving antenna, it's going to be a while. That's going to be an expensive fix. But I've only got on the radio a couple times since then because we've had so much going on. So during all of this as well, I had an accident one morning, split my finger open to the bone. It's another video you can get some information about here on my YouTube page. One of the last videos I've posted is all about my finger. I didn't run any updates on that though. With my finger, what happened as the doctor went to pull the stitches a couple weeks later, the wound blew wide open again. It hadn't even tried to start healing yet. They closed it back up. A week later, this finger put me back in the hospital. I had an infection that was attacking my blood. Clear up through Thanksgiving, I was in danger of losing this finger. Whole lot of prayer, whole lot of care. It's finally healed up. I can keep my finger. Got some pretty nasty scar tissue on there. I don't know how well it'll focus. And it's only been about a week that I've been able to fully make a fist. I don't think I'm going to go hitting anything anytime soon, because even that, right now, that hurts. But I'm getting there. So as I was dealing with my finger, it turned out that Aunt Frances's stay in the hospital was her last trip to the hospital. On October the 9th, she passed away. And in her last wishes and will, she wanted 100% of anything she had to benefit Grandma, and for me to manage that, which was kind of expected, and that's kind of how we handle things anyway. Anything she had would have taken care of Grandma through the end of her days. So now we're working through an estate and working through keeping her business open. She did have a little ceramic shop in town. If you're interested in that, we can show you here. I do have a Facebook page I keep running for her business. It's Fran's House of Ceramics. We don't really sell anything online, but if you're interested in the craft, hey, get on there and let me know. A little bit about Fran on here, some of the projects she's done, some of the sales we've run. So while we're dealing with all of this, trying to keep things going through the end of the year, you know, that truck I told you about and the $14,000 we spent on it, well, getting into early December, Melinda was driving down the road at highway speed, hit a deer, and totaled the truck. Another good time here. Did a lot of damage to the front quarter panel. Main thing was it busted up the frame. That truck that we thought would last us an easy another 20 years is now destroyed, because we really needed another kick in the butt with this dumpster fire. So, working through all of that, we thought we were in the clear. We made it to December. You know, everybody was still happy, healthy. You know, we dealt with the grief of losing Aunt Frances. Grandma's still well taken care of, having a great Christmas, and then just because I needed one last kick in the pants, I went to do my winter plowing and found out the lift cylinder on my Model A had blown. Another thing that's going to need rebuilt down the road. So yeah, I'll have to apologize. I didn't realize how hard this year was going to be to talk about. But let's get on to the great things that happened, okay? Right there, close to Christmas time, we had a good thing happen for the channel. We got 1,000 subscribers. Pushed just over 1,000. It says 1,014 right now. Let's refresh that, see if it's still. Yep, at the moment we have 1,014 subscribers. That is amazing, and I appreciate every one of you who has subscribed, who watches my channel. If you don't mind, do me a favor, let some of the ads run. Every little bit will help. But what was the big thing, the big blessing and surprise that we had this year? Well, I tell you, the Sunday after Christmas, my oldest son, without prompting and without telling me anything about it beforehand, he put his name in for lay ministry. And if you're not familiar with the church, lay ministry is the first step to working towards becoming a licensed and ordained minister. that really surprised me, but it really just it tore my heart wide open that he was doing that. You know, we come from a line of ministers, but we decided to never really push our children to try to go into ministry. You go into ministry because God calls you. And I'd like to think that a lot of his decision in that comes from, you know, what we've been through the last several years. You know, for one thing, we always teach and practice that if God calls you, you move. If he says go, you go. You don't question it. And God is calling this young man. And, you know, another thing is it doesn't matter how good or how bad the year has been, because you can't do it anyway. You can't stand on your own 2 feet without God, without your faith. And he's seen that now. He's seen and he's practiced that, and now he's being called. And, you know, it's really interesting to see where that's going. But to know that he's been through that and he felt that call and he made that decision, you know, that kind of makes this dumpster fire of a year we had. It makes it a cute little thing. It makes it worth it, and it brings it all together. That's what 2024 has been all about. Was leading up to that moment that young man wrote his name and contact information on that paper. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes from here. But where are we going as a channel from here? Well, I don't know. I've got a few videos that I have made, and they'll be coming up soon. We're still going to try to do something with the garden this year, but I'm also still working through Fran's estate. I'm still trying to keep her business running, still taking care of Grandma. It's all kind of up in the air where we're going, but I'm just as interested as you to see where it goes. And we know that no matter where this goes, we're going to be blessed, and so will you. So I thank you for sticking with me today. Greatly appreciate it. Cheers to 2025. Hopefully it's a better and blessed year. And until next time, just keep on nourishing your dreams, cultivating your passions, embracing the beauty of God's creation. Thank you, and we'll see you then.